Welcome to the Business Week video podcast, Entrepreneur's Notebook. I'm Jill Bennett. Each week, we profile an entrepreneur or we offer some tips that might help you run your businesses a little bit more efficiently. This week, we profile a woman who changed careers midstream to pursue her dream.
Kelly Bernard loves running her own retail and wholesale bakery. She established Amai Tea and Bakehouse after leaving behind a job designing websites for a major hotel chain.
It's from my heart. It's what I imagine. It's in my mind. It's in everything that I want to create. I can do that here. In my old job, it was great, but it was in a much more structured environment. I was responding to a task that somebody gave to me, and I performed it, and I did the best that I could. But it's different when you create something from scratch, from ideas and inspirations that you draw on from your entire life.
As you're exploring new ideas, let that experience be fun and energize you.
Marcy Albaher writes about career change and made one herself, from lawyer to journalist. She advises those looking to make a switch to figure out how they can pay the bills while they go on this journey, which may ultimately require them to quit their job, to experiment with different fields, to build skills in a chosen field by, among other things, taking adult education classes, and to start networking at conferences and other events. Albaher also recommends having a healthy dose of patience.
If you're in the mood, the mindset where you're open to career change, you're going to go through a process, and you got to let yourself go through that process and see what happens in it. But I've rarely seen a complete career reinvention happen in less than a year or so. This is something that's going to take time, and it could take several years.
Kelly Bernard's career transformation has evolved over a couple of years. It happened in part by accident. She always loved baking, but had no formal training, and decided to start a blog about the subject to share her experiences, not thinking it would become anything. As the positive feedback grew, she thought about making it her livelihood. She quit her day job at the hotel company and went for it, only after making a phone call to order a cake from a favorite bakery.
And when I was talking to this woman placing an order, she said, I have to go. I have an interview in 10 minutes, or 10 seconds, I think. She had to hang up the phone right then. I waited that 10 minutes for her interview to end. I called her right back and I said, will you interview me? And I went in that weekend, and that was it.
Bernard became a baking apprentice. She eventually rented her own kitchen space and sold her products to retailers before establishing her own store. She says with an open mind and a passion, anyone can follow in her footsteps.
People really appreciate somebody willing to learn. And if you show the right person that you just want to learn, there's so many people out there that are so excited to teach. And I really believe you can do whatever you want. There are so many fun things to do in the world that it's just a matter of connecting with the right people to get the right knowledge passed on to you.
Trying to run a business on your own is one thing. Doing it with your spouse, well, that's another thing entirely. And we'll talk with a couple that is doing just that next week. For the Entrepreneur's Notebook, I'm Jill Bennett.
Does everyone know what this is?
No.
Well, it's a lemming. From now on, we're not going to be lemmings. We're going to be leaders. Well, here's a good example. We switched to FedEx Ground, which has the fastest ground service to the most businesses in the U.S. So, Jim, what are we?
Leaders?
Yes. Nancy, what are we?
Leaders.
Yeah. Ow.
It's a process.
Relax, it's FedEx.